Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Christian, again for organizing this incredible event. I'm very proud to be all editions of the event. Actually, it's the ninth. Since the beginning, I've been here, and congratulations for the organization and the way that you arrive. Well, I would like to present today Soitec. Is a semiconductor, is a company in the semiconductor space, so maybe it's not to value, but let me go into the deep into the company, and I hopefully you will realize. But before that, I would like to put in mind or to remember you, or to ask you how many of you have ever seen this video with the football players passing through the ball and try to realize that a monkey behind is saying, "Hello, I'm here." It's an illusion experiment that when you for the first time, you do not realize that a monkey, a real monkey, is behind you saying hello, until you see for the twice this video. I would like to say that because there's a monkey in this company saying, "Hello, I'm here," and nobody in the sales side is looking into the company. Soitec is a French company. It's a 5 billion company without debt. It's founded in France and is the world leader on silicon on insulate. I will go more in deep on what silicon insulate is, but let me explain what they do and what they are in the semiconductor space. To build a chip, you have to start with a silicon ingot, with a tubular. Somebody is cutting this ingot, and it builds the wafer. This wafer is put on the ISML products or equipment, and they build, let's say, the transistor, how the transistor is made, and comparing with a map, they do all the streets, how the buildings and so on, and after that they put on the other equipment, it's equipment made by ISM International or Applied Materials, that they do the deposition in atomic way to insulate these wafers. Well, where is Soitec in this value chain? Soitec, what they do is they buy the wafers, they cut the wafers, they improve the wafers, and they sell the wafers to TSMC or Samsung. By segment, they are in the telephones. 70% of the business is made, or of these wafers are used for the telephones. A little bit more in cars, which is going to increase. But the first, they are focused on telephones. You know, Xavier, the telephones does not grow at all. It's true, but let's move on. What they do? What they do, it's like to cut a jam or to cook a biscuit. It's not easy. It's like if you try to cut a jam, it's not as easy as the professional do. So it's more a science rather than the commodity cut or whatever. What they do, they are here in the middle between the bulk materials and the foundries, and they engage with the final customer. They engage with Tesla, they engage with Apple, they engage with STMicro, with Infineon, with these people trying to understand what are their needs. And after that, they try to find a solution. They made the solution, and what they do, they buy the bulk wafer made with silicon, they cut the wafer and put a lot of things behind them. And then this new wafer is sold to TSMC. It's like Oreo. It's like Oreo. They buy the let's say the biscuit. They put all this stuff behind, and they sell biscuit with these improvements. And well, where are they in the wafer sector? they are in a niche market. They are leader in a niche market. This niche market is not big. That's the main reason, because the main players like Global Wafers or Sinetsu, they do not want to get into this small market because it's long, the growth is quite healthy, and they do not want to go into the silicon on insulate niche market, where Soitec is the leader. Where Soitec is the leader. The other wafers are the bulk wafers without this improvement behind them, and well, it's quite profitable. Why the silicon, the wafers made by Soitec are as good as they said? Well, if you start with a bulk wafer, which is the upper part of the slide, you can see that you have to do a lot of things. This is you start with the silicon, you do the lithography, you cut, and so on and so forth, and you get the final transistor. But what Soitec does is they improve at the beginning the wafer. And why they improve that? Because once the node of the chip is reducing, is smaller, there is a leak of electricity between nodes. So even though the telephone is switched off, they keep consuming electricity. They keep consuming electricity. What Soitec is doing with the silicon on insulate is they incorporate this barium oxide in the middle, and they improve this, or they cut from the beginning this leak of consumption, meaning that they have lower consumption than the FinFET wafers. How does it make? It's like paella. My mom cooks the best paella in Spain. I wanted to bring you a little taste of that, but it was impossible. And even though I use the same products, even though I use the same cook, even though I use the same ingredients that my mom, it's impossible to make the same paella. It's what they do. They do paella. So the how-to is the competitive advantage that those guys do. And this is secure with more than 3,000 patents. That's the main reason, because they are the leader in the silicon insulate. Moreover, they have the customers, not the TSMC, but the end customers. How? With power consumption less. You've realized that the Apple in the last release, they said, oh, this iPhone is going to consume less. Why? Because they are using the Soitec's wafers. The 100% of the smartphones in the world, the 100% uses Soitec's technology. Uses Soitec's technology. They also helps in the performance. And they also helps to these suppliers, let's say TSMC and so on, because the wafers are so good, the performance are much better than the bulk wafers, than the TSMCs does not need to invest more in equipment. They do not need to upgrade this equipment. So it's helping everybody. In applications, most of them are in the cell phones, in the smartphones, but they are a lot of, let's say, they cook a lot of biscuits for any kind of needs that the customer has. Well, here I would like to show you the monkey. I've been talking about the semis. The semis news are not good. I've been talking about the smartphones. The smartphones consumption or production has been more or less steady. But I would like to show you the monkey. And the monkey is not the quantity of semiconductors made or wafers uses, but the size of the semiconductor. The key issue for Soitec is not the number of transistors, but the size of those transistors. And the size is increasing. And it's increasing thanks to the mobile, the 5G, the 6G, and so on and so forth. Thanks to the automotive and industrial, the Industrial 4.0, and the Internet of Things. But let me go more in deep in each of these segments. Here you can realize that the number of smartphones has been more or less steady in the last, let's say, 5 years, and going forward is going to be more or less steady. But the key issue is not this number of smartphones, but the 5G. Why? Because each semiconductor in a 5G phone in size is bigger than the 4G. So you have two things. First, the growth in 5G, that the size of the semiconductor or in each phone is bigger, and the increase of 5G. Moreover, we've been talking about 5G. I was in the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona just 1 month ago, and they were talking about 5G, but they do not start talking about the millimeter wave, and they've not been talking about the Wi-Fi 6 and the Wi-Fi 7. The 5G, it's clear. Everybody knows that 5G improved the upload and download of the data and so on. But the microwave will improve the bandwidth. You will be able to reduce this latency. It's going to improve and to monitorize the 5G for the telecom companies. And you will also have the Wi-Fi 6. The Wi-Fi 6 will allows you to forget about the Wi-Fi that you have on your home. This, including the industry 4.0, will increase the market size of the mobile and the implication. Look, this is the size of the semiconductor there is in a 4G phone. The latest iPhone and the latest Samsung smartphone, the size is almost double than 4G. However, once you improve the 5G, the 6G, the Wi-Fi 6, they will increase from 74 square millimeters that already is in the smartphones, will increase up to 200 millimeters. What does it mean? It's simple, more wafers. The wafers in the next 4 years, they will increase by 2 times, and does not include the Wi-Fi 6. Let's jump into the automotive. We've been talking about Stellantis, an incredible company that we also own in our portfolio. But what they are doing is that, or what they said is that they are building right now smartphones with wheels. It's more or less what they are doing, thanks to the automotive assistance systems that they will help to improve the automatization of the car and the assistance of the car. If you have been driving a car or relatively new car, you realize that there is a lot of things that helps you to drive more safety. Well, this is translate into semis. Well, in the level 2 assistant driver, autonomous driver assistant systems, there are roughly $200 per car of semiconductors. This was the problem of the current cars issue. Only 200 cheap car was the problem that there were stopped to produce cars in the OEMs space. But when you improve the autonomous, the assistant drive, they will be increased 7 times to $1,400 per car, more than 7 times. Moreover, the electric vehicles that will be in the space, and they are starting the S-curve of the EV, the silicon carbide, which is the hardest the hardest product in the world, only behind the diamond. It's the hardest product in the world, only behind the diamond, will help to enter the EV to increase the time to charge the battery. It's 5 times faster to charge the battery. You can run 5 to 10% more kilometers per charge. You can save up to $1,000 per battery. And the penetration of the electrical vehicle will be, we've been talking when in this Stellantis presentation, that they will increase in the coming years. So what they do, they take a silicon carbide wafer, which is again harder than the diamonds, and they do 10 cuts. So they buy a silicon carbide, which is expensive. They do 10 cuts, and each cut it uses in a new wafer. So they buy a silicon carbide wafer. They do 10 cuts. So they improve the profitability of each silicon carbide, and they sell with a higher price because the performance is higher, and and helps the customers to increase the profitability of each car. Yes, but what happened with Tesla in the Capital Markets Day? They said that they are able to reduce the silicon carbide by 75%. This is a red flag for this company. But if you dig more in deep into into this news, you realize that they reduced the number of transistors, 75% is correct, but the size is larger, is bigger, and this is only for the low profile of the cars. So having said that, they will help to increase the total addressable market of the electric vehicles. So they will also help to another cars to use the silicon carbide. And look, this is the size. Here is where we are right now. In the coming years, the size of the transistor per car will increase by 5 times. Let's go into the third pillar, the smart devices. All these Internet of Things, all of these smart watches that you are using, one of the things is the battery, and the battery, the performance, and so on and so forth. All the sensors. So all these things will help to its customers. The Soitec wafers will help to its customers to improve the quality, the performance of their devices. Having said that, we realize that Soitec is the standard in the smartphones. It's going to become the standards in the silicon carbide. What's happening with the finance? Let's talk about the numbers. Well, the last 5 years or 6 years, here we can see the lines, the price and the quantity of the products. We can see in the green line the price, the average sale price of each wafer that has been increased, and they will increase going forward thanks to silicon carbide. And the quantity, they've been able to increase the quantity thanks to the increase of the 5G and the amount of the smartphones, and that helped them to increase the sale. And what about going forward? They are already building facilities in Singapore. They have 4 production facilities in four countries, France, Singapore, China, and Belgium. And they are increasing the silicon carbide facility in Singapore and France. So they will be able to increase the wafers from 2.7 million wafers per year up to 4.5 by 2026. But the facilities that they are currently building, they will be able to increase the capacity not to 4.5 but to 5.5, almost double the capacity. We have the quantity. What about the price? The average selling price, they will be able to increase the average sale price of each wafers thanks to the size of the wafers and the quality of the wafers, of the production or the product of the wafers, from silicon to silicon carbide. So the price will be increased by 1.5 times. What about profitability? If you increase the size with the same facilities, the operating leverage will be put in place. Is what happening with the company. The EBITDA has been improving in the last 5 years, and they will improve once all the production, the facilities will be in place. They will be from 36% of the EBITDA up to 40% of the EBITDA. Let's do the evaluation. Okay, we have the quantity, we have the price, we have the EBITDA. We are not using the 40% of the EBITDA that the company is saying we are using 36% of the EBITDA is what the last 3 years has been achieved for the company. It gives us more or less a net profit of 500 million. That multiplies 8 times the PE ratio. It gives us more or less the double of the current market cap. But as an image, it's more important than all the words that I have said. I would like to show you one slide from Apple. This is the latest, in the latest release of the Apple. Here you can see the size of the M1 chip, but in the model Pro and in the model Max and Ultra, you can realize the size of the chip. This is one phone, but with large amount of wafers. So having said that, I will be more than pleasure to get your questions. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Xavier. Any question? No question? Okay. Oh, okay.
Thank you, Xavier. That was a very good one. Are there any technology substitution risks, anything that would put any of that impressive trajectory at risk?
If we go to this slide, the technology problem is there. There are always a technology problem, but they are engaging with the customers. So they engaging with Volkswagen, with Stellantis, not with the current model, but the model that will release in 5 years. So the visibility that they have is quite good, meaning that at least for the next 4 or 5 years, the technology that the customers are going to use are themselves. Moreover, the customers ask to Soitec, hey, I have this kind of problem, can you solve it? And they do, technologically speaking, the improvement for their the customers. So it's true that it's a technology, there can be a problem, but well, they became the standards in the phones. They want to become the standards in the autos, and the visibility that they have, it's quite good for, even though it's a technology company.
Okay.
Just curious, can you tell us a little bit about the history of this company, when
Yeah.
it was founded, who owns it, what happened,
Yeah.
how it grew?
Yeah. This company were started doing. They started in 30 years ago in France. It was, let's say, a spin-off of the startup from the university, and they built the, let's say, the wafers for technology. What they are doing right now. What happened? It was silicon. They were working with silicon, and they jumped into the, let's say, the into the solar panels. It does not work well, and this time was around 2011, 2012. The Paul took the mandate to become the CEO, and he said, "We are doing wafers. We're going to improve these wafers." They started with talking with the phone producers, and they said, "Oh, we are right now in the 3G. We're going to jump into 4G," and they said, "Okay, we are doing this substrate that improves the performance and so on." And the phone makers said, "Okay, we like this wafer because it improves a lot the life of the battery and so on and so forth," and they became the standard. Right now, who are the owners? The owners are still 10% of the University of France. More, it's not the university; it's more linked to the government of France, which is more in the technology thing. Which is they have roughly 15% of the company.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh.
Yeah, I have a question actually. I'm not really. It's a very science-based company. It's based on. Is this a lithographic process they are doing? Is an enrichment of the wafer? What I don't understand, what I didn't get, is you said they engage with the final users of this chip, which is maybe Stellantis, Tesla, whatever. But in the end, they produce wafers that go to a foundry in the end for the production of the chips and for the effective production of the wafer. So what kind of really feedback you can get from the user for when the end product has to still undergo several passages before going to the chip production company and then to the final users?
Have in mind this slide, and then I jump to here. They talk with Stellantis, and they said, "Okay, do you want to improve your battery? No problem. I will give you the solution." And then Stellantis talks with Infineon, and they said, "Hey, I have this problem. I've been talking with Soitec that they will have this solution. Can you build my chip?" And Infineon said, "Okay, no problem. We can do it, and we can use the Soitec's wafers." "Yeah, but the Soitec's wafers are more expensive." "Yeah, but using the Soitec's wafers improve the performance of the chip." Infineon goes to TSMC. TSMC said, "Hey, what do you want?" "I want this kind of chip with these characteristics," and so on and so forth. TSMC has this equipment which is more expensive because it's lithography with EUV of ASML than using this one. So the steps to build this and the performance of this technology is worse than this one. It helps to TSMC to reduce the CapEx that they need. So it helps TSMC the profitability per wafer made. And they helps to the latest customers, Stellantis, to improve the performance. So everybody wins.